you have a 20-year-old that died a horrific death, and the Birmingham Police Department was able to arrest 8 people.
This is undoubtedly one of the most heinous acts I've seen in my career.
This is a harrowing case that strikes at the heart. The tragic death of 20-year-old Mahogany Jackson is one of the most horrific murders to date, one of the most gruesome murders. 8 defendants are implicated in her kidnapping and murder. Police reports indicate that she was taken just a day after she was reported missing, only to be found shot dead early Monday morning. She was not only kidnapped, but also subjected to murder and sexual assault. Mahogany's untimely passing sheds light on a broader issue of homicide in our city. This was a particularly brutal case, revealing a disturbing trend where acquaintances turn violent against each other. People that know one another are choosing violence against their fellow brother and sister. Birmingham police suspect that those responsible for Jackson's death were individuals known to her. This is far from an ordinary case. According to police, after Jackson was abducted, she bravely attempted to secure her own safety. She did what she could to try to save herself, and safety experts want to make sure everyone is aware of safety features if their own lives are at risk. This tragic event serves as a somber reminder for all to be aware of safety measures if ever faced with such a danger. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. This is a case that shocks the conscience. A 20-year-old that died a horrific death. One of the most gruesome murders. 8 defendants in the murder and kidnapping of 20-year-old Mahogany Jackson. She was kidnapped, murdered, and sexually assaulted. Mahogany's death is indicative of many other homicide. That was a very brutal case. It's hurtful to know that 8 individuals participate in such vile acts. The facts of this case are deplorable and sickening. Saddest of all, they were made public by the suspect's decision to videotape portions of this horrific act. Mahogany was a victim of sexual assault with murder and kidnapping. She was tortured before killing, slapped, punched, stripped nude, and forced to perform sexual acts on gunpoint. It is deeply disturbing to learn that 8 individuals took part in such despicable acts. They have been arrested and charged in connection with her death. It is the most brutal and horrific killing in history. The details of this case are absolutely appalling and nauseating. And what makes it even more heartbreaking is that portions of this horrific act were recorded by the suspects. They were made public. All individuals, comprising 4 men and 3 women, are facing charges of murder. They are all also charged with sodomy and kidnapping in relation to Mahogany Jackson. Tragically, Mahogany's body was discovered shot earlier this week in the Powderly neighborhood. Even Birmingham Police Department Chief Scott Thurmond expressed his shock, stating, "I'll tell you, as many of you know, I served a number of years in the homicide unit, and this is undoubtedly one of the most heinous acts I've seen in my career."
As many of you know, I served a number of years in the homicide unit, and this is undoubtedly one of the most heinous acts I've seen in my career.
As the investigation into Mahogany Jackson's death continues, new details have emerged about her final moments. Some of these details have been too unbearable for her family to hear. The pain and sorrow surrounding this case are immeasurable. She endured unimaginable horrors before her death. There are 8 videos documenting the brutality in connection with the homicide of Mahogany Jackson. The investigation began on Sunday when officers from the Birmingham Police Department initiated a search for 20-year-old Mahogany Jackson, reported missing. Mahogany had sent a distressing text message to a family member indicating she had been kidnapped. Tragically, the following day, officers and detectives discovered Mahogany's lifeless body. It was determined that she had been fatally shot. With the invaluable assistance of the community, detectives swiftly located Mahogany Jackson's body and apprehended 7 suspects believed to be responsible for her murder within 48 hours of commencing the investigation. The Birmingham Police Department has confirmed the arrest of an 8th individual in connection with the tragic death of Mahogany Jackson. Police have obtained arrest warrants for felony murder and kidnapping for Ariana Robinson, adding her to the list of people facing charges in this case. This development comes after the recent announcement of the arrest of 7 other individuals earlier this week in connection with Jackson's death. The individuals previously arrested and charged include Giovanni Clapp, Blair Green, Tasia Lewis, Francis Harris, Sinaya McCall, Jeremiah McDowell, Brandon Pope. With the addition of Ariana Robinson, the investigation into Mahogany Jackson's death continues to unfold, revealing a disturbing web of individuals allegedly involved in this tragic event. Law enforcement was initially alerted by an acquaintance who provided copies of some of the videos. Subsequently, investigators discovered 3 additional videos late Tuesday night. 8 defendants are seen in at least one portion of these videos, depicting the heinous acts that took place. In this case, everyone involved, from victim to suspects, is captured in these disturbing recordings. Police Chief Scott Thurman provided an update on the Mahogany Jackson homicide investigation. Defense attorneys have claimed that Jackson was at one of the suspects' houses. According to statements, Pope instructed Harris to take action against Jackson because she had allegedly forced him to strip. Detectives on the case now assert that Jackson was assaulted multiple times during the period she was held against her will. In a poignant courtroom scene, both Jackson's and some of the suspects' families were present, emotions running high as the details of the case were revealed. Brandon Pope, Jeremiah McDowell, Francis Harris, Tasia Lewis, Giovanni Clapp, and Ariana Robinson all appeared in court on Wednesday for the preliminary hearing. Some charges were reduced or dismissed, but each step brings them closer to justice. During the hearing, the prosecution presented graphic screenshots from videos taken while Mahogany Jackson was held against her will before her murder. These chilling images depicted Mahogany being subjected to slaps, punches, forced nudity, and sexual acts at gunpoint. Later in the day, before her death, Jackson was placed in Harris' car. Harris, Pope, and McDowell allegedly drove her to clean out the car, despite defense claims that Harris had stated they were taking her back to her house. It was during this time that Harris is accused of fatally shooting Jackson in the back of the head. District Attorney Danny Carr described this as one of the most gruesome murders he has encountered. The nature of the videos and evidence presented in court painted a horrific picture of the events leading to Mahogany Jackson's death. In the wake of this tragedy, family, friends, and the community came together to honor and remember Mahogany Jackson, the 20-year-old who was found shot dead early Monday morning. The sorrow and shock rippled through those who knew her, coming together to mourn a life lost to such senseless violence.